Hello, everyone. Thank you. Thank you Aaron, for introducing me. Um, I guess I'll say something about myself, short introduction. My name is Melikset Khachiyan, Grandmaster, originally from, I guess, Soviet Union, which doesn't exist anymore. My background, I'm Armenian. I was attending as a kid to in Moscow to my academy in Moscow, Tiran Petrosian Academy. One of my backgrounds as a student, as a kid, and actually this has become my blueprint in my career. Kind of carry on the ideas of Tiran Petrosian himself and the coaching staff who was teaching us in academy. I would never forget the Russian legend Alexander Nikitin uh, from Ukraine, Weissman. So we have very strong coaching staff, and particularly Alexander Nikitin, who was the driving machine for everything, who taught all of us, and Petrosian himself. Um, in 2001, I immigrated to United States of America. Uh, Before that, 10 years I spent even more. I spent in my native country, Armenia. Um, I I helped raise many strong kids in Armenia, including I was a long-time coach for Levon Aronian, who was number two 5 years in a row. And I also helped to raise some other Armenian kids. Unfortunately, due to economic situations, in 2001, I decided to immigrate to another state of America, which I did. And since then, I've very much settled myself in Los Angeles area. In 2009, 10, roughly, I got invitation to be part of US team. I got invitation to be head coach of US Women Olympic team, which I've been doing till 2014. And in 2014, I got position as a team captain, which I'm holding till today. So I am team captain for US Women Olympic team. In 2018, I was invited to be part of FIDE Trainer Commission as one of the leading FIDE councils, responsible for sort of North American chess, North American region. And since then, I started to actively working for FIDE Commission, Trainer Commission, organizing multiple seminars for trainers, as well as also organizing many master classes for kids. So thank you for Education Commission to inviting me for this particular project, which I'm proud to be part of it. This is very important for all of us, for most of the coaches, for most of the parents, perhaps to hear some experience to sharing with you guys. You will welcome to ask me any questions, any concerns. I will try to do my best to share my experience, my knowledge with all of you.
Thank you, Grandmaster. So to begin, let us start with the foundation of a young player's development. What should be the main priorities in early years of chess training?
You sound a little bit low, but I think I heard the questions. I think this is the question which, okay. So from very beginning for kids, obviously it's most important for them to pin them with interest playing the chess. I think this is most important because whatever kids will do from very beginning of their career, they must have a fun. They must smile by doing this. They must really be like engaged, and they must be very happy of doing this chess because this is very important to pin them interest for this game, to explain to them where they're going to be going, what kind of quest is expecting for them to see, to check. I mean, I always believed, particularly up to age 8, between 6 and age 8, chess must be like a fun journey for kids. Obviously things change these days and the change become more younger, but I still believe for very early stage for kids, if we can bring elements of joy for kids every time uh, when you're teaching them, if you can bring the elements of some kind of ritual, I don't know, I may bring them the stories, show them some films. I believe this is very important. As much as you can, try to make the class to be interactive. And if coach can settle that, if coach can have this idea of being interacted with the kids, either private student or the group classes, and that's in my opinion, like a main priority.
Thank you, Melik. And we have another question. What mistakes do parents most often make when pushing children too quickly?
Well, yeah, this is very common mistake when obviously every parent wants to see his child to be the best. Every parent thinks his child is the best. And clearly, parents pushing children to get results as soon as possible. But often, I think this is a very common mistake, because one thing what we need to understand, we have to bring the child, um, in order for them to be successful, they must be happy. Meanings like, I'm not saying to you to do absolutely nothing and let it go. No, it's parents control in some way, it's important, but pushing too much, no needed. Because if you're going to hire a coach, if you believe you're hiring someone who is professional in this matter, then let him do his job and do not interfere with the coach, because that's why you're hiring the coach, to help your child to succeed. So, and often mistakes when parents kind of taking over by trying to decide everything for the child in a chess. Again, I'm not saying to you it's completely wrong. Parents must be part of the training process. Parents must be part because particularly like for boys, I noticed like a lot of times that must be involved. But what I'm saying is, still expecting your child to bring results right away, this is the most common mistake. Just be more patient and let it go and trust the process. I think this is the most important part.
Thank you, Melik. And we have another question. Training of young players, it truly requires some discipline. But as the kids, they're small, there also requires, imagination, freedom, and creativity. So alongside, we have a question. How do you balance structure and discipline with creativity in training?
Well, absolutely. This is a great question. Thank you for asking me this question. Yes, the game of chess, it's a game of discipline. Absolutely. In my school, I always have this uh, three criteria for kids. I always been saying, number one, the core, it's discipline. Whenever you build your discipline, it's create ambitious. And whenever you have a combination of discipline and ambitious, it also gives you full success. Now, another thing is, which very important for kids to develop from very beginning, it's creativity. That's why when personally myself, if I teach, let's say more or less beginner classes, I always try to bring them certain stories, because even if you bring them some stories, they start to get some fantasies, because whenever kids have from many initially some fantasies in their minds, eventually you can actually switch slowly to actual chess stuff, as we call creative thinking, creativity. So creativity, it's one of the biggest part for development for the kids, because in many cases, particularly today's days, if you see how chess is going to get developed, let's say if you see like a freestyle chess, the freestyle chess, or perhaps even if you look for these days, time control, a lot of times getting shrinked, getting blitz, getting rapid chess, all this category, when you look for it, they require for eventually for your for your student to be very creative, because without part of being creative, you won't be able to succeed. Now, how do you train? We have many exercises. We have particular exercises. Personally, what I like to do some unique ideas from composers, like chess composers. Obviously, whenever you're dealing with very beginnings, you can create some positions or compositions by yourself. And also, again, there is some material which on the market, the books and softwares, files which could be used for kids to develop and get better at this particular part of it, of improvement. So being better at creative play. And again, if you look for a little bit like upper level, we have many chess players who has been pinned with such kind of identity, sort of. We have Mikhail Tal. If you look at it, we have Alexei Shirov, my good friend. We have amazing person in America. I mean, Alexei Shabalov, right? So what I'm saying is Alex Shabalov. So what I'm saying is we have so many great chess grandmasters who has been doing this for years. And you clearly, whenever if you look for, let's say, classical educations, if you're looking for perhaps like teaching kids from very beginning to give them more creative play, you can clearly show the game of Adolf Andersen, like from those I don't know, Legacy. Or if you show the game of Labordone back to 1850s, or you show the game of Paul Morphy. I mean, always these parts of your education could be considered as part of your educating your children towards to being more creative. I mean, again, creativity, even creativity, creative play, it's a part of your discipline, because trust me, it is kind of connected altogether.
We would like to cover another topic is definitely the role of parent is crucial and important, especially his role in supporting and nurturing young talents. But sometimes this support can cause additional pressure. So in connection to that, we have a question. What parental behaviors unintentionally do create pressure or fear or of failure?
I think, from my experience, it's happening whenever parents has too much on demand. When parents too much pushing the children by kept reminding them what should be done, how much they owe. Like when they keep bringing kind of wrong examples, because one thing what we need to understand, when kids are getting developed, particularly from very early age, and if your kid's showing actually signs of being quite good at chess and actually doing initially very well, and then suddenly he stopped, he doesn't have a progress, and as a parent you expecting what is happening. My kid was doing so great, my kid was winning some tournaments, bringing trophies constantly, this and that, and then somehow like my kid's progress slows down or completely stops for whatever reason, and that's where you starting to like kind of bringing more demands. But one thing what we need to understand, the kids nerve system, it's not yet established. And if we going to push too much, if you're going to demand too much from the children, from the kids, from the students, often they could simply collapse. And and uh, you know, the connection between love, between passion to this game, and to, I'm sorry to say that, to the hate of this game, it's very tiny. It's like a blood thinner, you know. And very often I have seen many cases where students simply start to hate this game and then simply leave the game, you know. I remember like when I was even a young man, we lost a couple great talents. So what I'm saying is, like I earlier stated, most important for everyone in this scenario to be patient, because everyone has his own, sort of love to this game, right? Parent has his own way to love this game. Parents has obviously more love towards to his own child. But trust me, if you're going to hire right coach, the coach also is going to have a love and respect to your child. And somehow this triangle needs to be have respect to each other and love to each other. If we have this kind of combination of understanding each other, that way the educational process and improving process for your children, for your child is going to be great. Because again, if you look at it, what's the like most important course for let's say if you look for like for your child to be developed as a strong chess player? Again, in my opinion, obviously this comes from discipline. When we say the discipline, obviously this is discipline comes to your children, right? But it also comes to you as well. Because if you're also, as a parent, let's say more or less educated and more or less disciplined, which means you won't putting like too much demand on your child, and that way we're going to have a fantastic combination, and that's way how we are improving forward. So a short example, let's say long ago, even with when I was working with one of the greatest talent in my life, Levon Aronian, we always had these ideas. And let's say initially, Levon goes forward and some other his rivalry stay behind, but then his rivalry kids passing him, and now they are higher, now they are better, and often like a parents asking how come. Let's say a few months ago, my kid was, let's say, on a top position. Now we're losing top position. Now the other children going on top position. How come? Yeah, like let's say do something. Okay, we're doing everything in our power, but we also, like I said, need to trust the process, trust the God, and everything is going to be fine.
And you've already covered a very important point that every child is unique and there should be a very personal, individual approach to that. So in
Yes.
connection to that, I have a question. How do you adapt training for different personalities and learning styles?
Oh, that's also a great question. And again, I share you right, my own experience. I think this is about always learning experience, because I think coach needs to learn from his student learning from his coach. And like I said, the triangle, we all learning each other, because whenever, for me, like we said, every kid is unique. You cannot treat your students with the same way. Um, let's say again, every coach has his own methods, his own vision. I personally believe, let's say, I always try to pay attention to every single student individually. When I prepare my own lessons, before let's say I'm preparing my lessons, I'm actually sitting down and trying to make my plan. What do I do? What my students require today to work on it, and so the different methods also meanings like, some kids, every single kid coming from a different culture, right, from different environment. And I think it's also very important for us to understand how to treat kids, because kids, as much as kid is learning from you, coach himself must never stop learning the game of chess and must never stop learning his students. Let's say for us, for coaches, it doesn't matter what level you had reached. You always need to improve your own vision, improve your own knowledge every day. I mean, I I am 56, but what I'm saying is I always try to find the time for myself to read certain articles, do some exercises, studying the games of my students, and this is very important. Another thing is when coach working with children, you never really show, let's say, you complete authority. You never really show the children, oh, who are you? How strong are you? And I think the connection between kid and coaches must be always like a family, because kid looking for coach as his brother, as his dad, and as his trustee. It is very important for coach to build this connection, because whenever there is a connection between coach and kid, and truly connection, not just connection, or you know what, I'm looking for my coach as a god. No need to do that. You're looking for your coach as your big friend. You're looking for your coach as a part of your family, because I mean, trust me, many times in my life, my students had shared the gossips with me than with their parents. Because it's very important, particularly for coach, to understand what your kid needs and answer the call. Because whenever you're going to have a right diagnosis, like what's going on, then the coach will be able to fix that right away. This is very important. But if you don't know what's going on, if you don't know like a kind of issues, then we're going to have some issues, some problems. So yeah, I think this is, again, if you look for to answer to your question, how do we adopt? You need to understand what every single student require for you to be provided to him, to be taught, and then do that. Again, if you're going to do the same methods and apply for everyone, it won't work. For now, let's say if you're teaching beginner classes, I do like on the weekends for my fun, for my passion. Obviously, when you teach beginner classes for kids, I do have, let's say, up to 8, 10 kids top. You're teaching them some beginners moves, but I mean, after 3, 6 months of doing that, I'm going to be actually like a more or less trying to be more separated them, because it's going to be definitely more individual whenever kids are growing more forward.
That was so very helpful. Thank you. I would like to mention one thing. You've worked with some of the strongest players worldwide, and definitely gathered unique and significant expertise in that field. In connection to our masterclass title and the topic that we are covering today, what lessons from working with the elite players apply most to junior development?
That's a strong question. Every time when I teach kids, the simple question, why not me? It's like famous word by Julius Caesar before he was passing the Rubicon. He was saying, if not me, then who? Every time when you teach kids, you keep praising him. Every time when your student have done something great, you keep reminding him. I think building confidence from very beginning, it is important for your children to succeed in their lives. Because if kid will understand the mission, what he is looking for, then he's going to achieve. I don't know. I think it comes with your right visionary. If coach has a right visionary, and if coach in the right way will present the visionary to his child, to his student, I think that visionary will build extra motivation. And when the kids have motivation, they're going to build a confidence. And when there is a confidence, there is a certain ambitious already present, then it's going to be a success. That's why, yes. And I personally love the idea of bringing the stories for elite players, and sometimes reminding them, even elite players, when they become elite players, they haven't become elite players out of blue, right? I mean, some time ago they were like a regular players, like most of us. And how they had reached their potential, how they reached those heights, what they have done, and you try to tell them the stories how they did it. It's a hard work. It's also beliefs. It's also, I mean, a combination of everything, little but little but little. But again, everyone, like we said, every single child has a unique opportunity, has unique talent. My coach used to say, if you're playing game of chess, it is royal game. If you're playing this royal game, it means you're very much better than average. It means you do have a hidden talent in you. And our job of teachers, job of coaches, to discover this talent and make kids to start to believe in themselves, staying more motivated, and to move forward.
Uh, as you've like in connection to your last answer, you've mentioned that uh, it's a duty of a child, of a parent, and of a coach to see this hidden talent and to provide all the needed conditions to that. But also, there is an important step in terms of family when parents and when the kids are taking this decision of taking chess as a serious career path. So, how do you think? At what stage does chess become a profession rather than a hobby and competition?
Yeah, it's very tricky questions. It's very hard questions, and I'll tell you, if you look for statistics these days, chess become much more younger. I mean, I have a student who is like just turned 10. He just got FIDE master. I took him like within I would say 8 months from rating 1860 to 2300. Right now, he is a FIDE master, and obviously big expectation, right? Because now you're like 10, you're FIDE master, and you're thinking, okay, my next goal is international master, my next goal is grandmaster. Because if you look for statistics, like um, like Oro got the grandmaster title a few days ago, got his third grandmaster norm, the kid from Argentina, and he just become like a number two in the history of chess. If you look for the average these days, by age of 12 and a half, 13, you are reaching very much a grandmaster level these days. You know, like in my days when we used to be grandmaster at least after 25 years old or something, you know. So I think answer to your questions, I typically believes the development when you understand uh, chess is not as much fun and becoming more or less your occupation around 10 years old. I always, again, this is my opinion. I might be wrong, but this is what I feel. I personally feel kids before age 8, for them, the chess must be more introduction. Chess must be more fun. I mean, obviously knowledge, but most important, not to break the nerve system, because the kids are still very fragile. And if you're going to press too much before age 8, there is a big percentage of losses, meaning like losses of kids playing the game of chess. Because for them, in my opinion, it's going to be supposed to be more fun. Yes, they're playing like official FIDE events under age of 6, under I'm not 6, 7 and 8. We have like championships, but I saw many dramas. If someone hold the trophy, the other kid doesn't have a trophy. That actually creates so much sense, so much intense in a kid's competition. Okay, I think the role of the coaches at this point try to minimize the losses and explain if you lost certain battle, if you didn't get this trophy, that's okay. The life is not over. So some giving some more examples, try to minimize, like I said, minimize psychological loss for the children, for the students. Now, from age 10 to 10, in my opinion, in my experience, then chess become actually more serious because when they're moving forward, they start to playing those certain championships and they try to get like actually sort of recognition and particular recognition by other kids. They now becoming more serious about chess. But when you're asking me, in my opinion, like when chess actually becoming part of your, I don't know, occupation, part of your future, I believe important age these days from 10 to 12. Then you can tell if your child is going to be connected with the chess for his long, I mean, for long period of his life, or perhaps you as a parent will have to make certain adjustments. But again, we do have certain like you know like adjustments. One thing I want to tell you something. uh, Often mistake what's happening for coaches, for parents. If we believe it's important for you to reach certain heights, certain titles to be reached by age 12 or 13, you are absolutely wrong. You are absolutely mistaken. Because uh, this is important. Yes, it's a cool when your kid winning certain championships, winning certain games, becoming a Pan American champion or youth champions. But honestly, in the long run, it doesn't mean much. It doesn't mean your child is going to be, let's say, in a top 10 in the world or competing in a for a world championship title or something like that, because it's a good for the short term, for let's say for certain like a name, but once again, uh, don't overforce things. Just try to, like I said, in my opinion, I've been saying that for years and years and years. When we're trying to catch the bird in the skies by trying to force things, this is a mistake. I think helping kid to develop, if he's going to get there, if he win championship naturally, that's perfect. If he doesn't win the championship, it doesn't mean, oh, we have, like a world collapse and we, how come this happened? And my kid was supposed to be winning the championship. He was number one ranked in the tournament and he did not win the tournament. So what? The question is, if you are a parent, you brought your child for this game for what? To bring the love, to teach him what it means, a passion, what it means to have a kind of a routine work, what it means to have a discipline. That's the main reason why you brought your child here. And I think winning those tournaments on certain age is important, but it's not as important as, you know what, you do every single sacrifice for reach certain goals. Trust me. But again, if answer for your question, I think I would say after age 12, this is becoming more or less question how much this chess is going to be having impact in your career as a professional player.
You've already mentioned in your answers that at some point, kids, they do come across pressure, anxiety, stresses. And I would like to ask you, what kind of psychological challenges do talented young chess players most often face?
That's yeah, a very common question, and thank you for asking this question. The biggest mistake and reason why we have this anxiety and all this issue with kids. Actually, I faced this multiple times in my career. Uh, what what parents and some coaches forgetting this game, it's a game. It's a game. And the elements of fun must be always present. It doesn't matter what level are you. If you're forgetting about certain elements of fun of this game, we are making our kids to be robots. You're making them machines. You're eliminating, you're taking away the human factors from them. They're supposed to have a fun. If they will take this game as more fun, trust me, they will understand certain elements of discipline and the work and the hard work and everything and motivation. But make sure you don't break this, that you don't break this connection. Yes, parent must be involved. Yes, parent must be always asking son or daughter what she needs, how he can help, what she wants from daddy or mom to help her child. And the same thing with coach. You know, it's really brutal world, and we will lose a lot. I mean, I'm telling you, I had the situations when my kids was reaching certain heights very quickly, and then let's say we are expecting you know what the most common mistake, when parents pushing kids to reach certain ratings, certain heights, it's not important. This is all virtual. I mean, we need to learn the game itself, and we need to help your student, your child, to get known this game better. And whatever it takes, bring some examples, bring some materials to just make sure the passion would never leave your child. The passion, the love. I'm serious. This is very like a common issue. Unfortunately, many of us, we forgetting what it means love, what it means passion, and at some point, then this become just a way how to earn something. That's it. But whenever this is becoming earning machine or something, that's where kids are getting broke right away. This is my opinion. I don't know.
And I think the last question from my side would be, we would like to know your personal experience, and maybe if you could share your personal insights. We know that you've been the head coach of US women's national team in many years, and you've helped them to perform in many Olympiads. And it's the competitions where the individual performance is connected to the strength of the whole team. So my question is, what role does the team culture play in individual success?
Thank you. Well, I think I kind of stated a little bit earlier, this is about always learning experience. You know, when I came in 2010, first time when I was invited to become a coach for US Olympic women team, right? Uh, I was taking everything very personally, because back then I was quite strong myself, and I always thought, okay, how come I don't want to give names. How come this girl doesn't see this or that girl doesn't see that? You know, and I was initially I was kind of a little bit emotional, but I'm not saying I was disrespectful, but a little bit acting emotional. But then I learned something. I think I learned even on that high level. I learned something very important. Uh, Without studying, without learning each other, there is no success. And as I said earlier, no matter who you are, you never really try to put your kind of name, your kind of, you know, your authority, hide anything else. I think for me personally, it was always about learning the girls, learning my players, understanding what she needs, trying to not just to show certain variations, and also a lot of times it was simply about talking. It was simply about trying to find a right mindset for the game. because we are all humans and we are all dealing with certain, family situations, certain things. And when your player is in the right mode, when your player is in the right state, then actually your player is going to perform very well. That's why in our like lately travels, we have a lot of talks. We have a lot of talks, and our team always has very high spirit. And again, if you're looking for, let's say, Team USA particularly, um, Team USA always has been like multinational team. Um, we always had some, uh, girls who's, let's say, have a Chinese girls, we have a Ukrainian girls. So we have, what I'm saying is we have always like multinational team, and obviously the coach, coach, my competency, I always responsible uh, to understand the culture of certain nations, and actually I need to treat them with respect, and treat them with love. And I think what we had created incredible atmosphere, and which actually helped us last time perform in Budapest, and we got bronze medal. And I was actually very proud because what we have done there, we could actually be trying to do even better. But I was very happy with total overall team performance. I um, I never really showed any sign of emotions, and I think finally, like already like back to India, I already like studied a lot, and I was ready to perform on a higher level as a team leader. And I think this is very important when when the whole team act together. Because in team events, sometimes it's very uh, upsetting when you're going to seat someone and replace the someone with someone else. You always find the right words for doing that, right words without hurting your other player, because you want to make sure the team mechanism of working till the last moment. The team must breathe, and if someone is not playing, and by coach decision and by right explanation, then it actually hurts. It actually hurts the player. It actually hurts the whole team eventually. So it is very important to find the balance. And it is important whenever coach or team captain wants to make a decision, it must be always explained and have done it together with the whole team. So when you guys on the same page, then easier for you to fight against any other circumstances.
Melik, thank you. That was all the questions from my side for today, but I believe you wanted to share something with the audience. So if you have this willing, I would like to propose.
Yeah, how about if audience has some questions, and then I will share my experience. If it needed, I can show some files. Sure.
Dear participants, maybe you have any questions to our speaker? Yes, just a second.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. You have a lot of experience working with elite girls, and I was wondering for girls specifically, average girls to elite girls, what are the kinds of things that transition? Because many girls do drop out of chess.
What's the transition between elite girls and let's say beginner girls?
From when girls are beginning to becoming elite players, because I think the journey might be different than the boys, and I'm just curious to hear your experience.
Okay, I hear something. I hope if I hear
Melik,
correctly.
if I can,
No, it's okay. I think I
Yeah,
heard
no.
most of the question. I think I understand most of the question. So, firstly, in my opinion, again, there is a big difference between development of the girls and boys. Girls, again, from my experience, they obviously they kind of initially they're very fast at developing than boys. But boys, don't forget the girls' chess, it's a little bit more emotional compared to boys' chess. And I mean, controlling these emotions, it's very important for a coach to understand and take these emotions on the right route. If you look at it, I mean, I have, let's say, experience, one of my most recent experience with the girls when I worked with one of my so far best creations, Jasmine Sue from Connecticut. I took her when she was roughly about 1800 plus, 1850. I mean, I won't really call her to be amateur. She was an amateur, but she wasn't yet professional. So it took us about like 4 years of training. When now she reached like a 2300 level, and now she's, for me, put this way, I called anyone to be professional if anyone had reached level of 2200 plus. So I always call people before reaching 2200, more or less amateurs. Obviously, before 2000, it's completely amateur. From 2000 to 2200, it's like half amateurs. But after 2200, I think it's actually professional. So what takes, I think the biggest difference, I think that was your question, right? What's the biggest difference you said?
Yes, that is correct. That was the question.
Yeah. I wouldn't necessarily say as a coach you're making so much differences. I think you're making some adjustments. I think you're taking the child, you understand it's a girl, you understand the girls are a little bit acting different than boys, and your job to always present particular to the girl something what she likes most. I think from my own experience, I noticed like when you're teaching girls, it's all about her total confidence. And total confidence comes with from very beginning. You want to make sure as a coach, whatever she does from very beginning, she loves it. See, sometimes with boys, you can actually sort of think you can demand differently. But with the girls, you got to be careful. Because with the girls, it's required for you to be much more flexible, much more like different, a little bit, you know?
Muy buenos días, mi nombre es Legnis Arias del Salvador. El ajedrez está en una fase de transición para hacerse olímpico y como tal los entrenadores tenemos que saber la periodización o los macrociclos. Entonces, como preparamos los atletas a alto rendimiento, el Comité Olímpico y trabajos de federación, nos tenemos que adaptar a ese trabajo. Entonces, mi pregunta es, en un macrociclo especial, de preparación especial, ¿cómo lo estructura él, por ejemplo, ahorita que va a la Olimpiada? Es en septiembre, entonces él en julio tendría que tener el mesociclo de preparación especial, que el mesociclo de preparación especial es la transición de la preparación general y ya preparar al atleta para la competencia, porque en agosto tendría que ser el mesociclo precompetitivo y el competitivo sería en septiembre, que es la Olimpiada. Entonces, ¿cómo es importante estructurar el mesociclo de preparación especial, que sería en julio? ¿Cómo lo estructura él para que el equipo olímpico que va a la Olimpiada en septiembre llegue en óptimas condiciones?
We have a translation, Melik.
Okay, hi, Master. This is Mauricio Arias. I will try to help to translate. It was a long question, so I will try to be fair with what was said. So the question is this: chess is starting to transition in some regions to be more part of the Olympic cycle. Okay, and of course we have the Chess Olympiad too. That is our own thing. So the question is, I can tell that you are struggling to hear. So chess is moving forward to be more of a sport in the sense of the Olympic sports, okay? So the question is this. First, how do you think about what should be doing in terms of macro cycles for the preparation of the athlete? Then, for example, now we have the Chess Olympiad coming soon. And the question is a little bit more focused on that part. Like, what will you do in terms of mesocycle, the stage closest to the Chess Olympiad to prepare the athletes so they perform at their best once the competition comes? It was a little bit longer than that, but I think that summarized it.
Can I clarify something, Mauricio? Is it
Yes, sir.
regards for like a regular chess athletes, or is it regards to
Chess athletes. Chess athletes. The thing is that, for example, in the region of Central America and the Caribbean, the athletes have to play in events that are part of the Olympic cycle, not the Special Olympiad, but the regional events for the International Olympic Committee. So they are being asked more and more to work under that framework of training, of macrocycles, mesocycles, because they have to present their training plan. So what are your thoughts on that? Like basically the long-term planning and training for the athlete that is competing at a high level. And let's say for the US team and women, your experience when the chess Olympiad was very close and you have to prepare in the last few months for that event.
I see. Thank you. Well, first, the U.S. team, we do a little bit different than perhaps some other nations, because U.S. is it's a huge and it's spread out, and we do not have, as you mentioned, like a microcycles or or microcycles, you know. So what we do, we have from a period to period, let's say from past Olympiad to this Olympiad, we do have a rating list established, and the girls are kept playing certain tournaments, and they try to bring up the national rating as well as an international rating. And then we always have this combination of like overall rating, like we call this invitational rating. And based on that, that's the main criteria for us to select our team. There's obviously the impact, whoever winning like current women championship, it also has its own special place. But so far, most of the times, whoever had won the U.S. Women Championship always has been in a type 4 or 5 categories, which didn't really affect it to anyone outside of this top 5. Okay, and I think obviously each nation, each country has its own way to determine like the players for the team for the Olympics. Again, I already said that towards the kids. I'm going to repeat that towards the professional athletes. I think everyone is dealing with a lot of pressure while he's playing the game of chess itself. And I think if federations, if organizations can have somehow limited an extra impact, an extra like a pressure for the players to be part of the whatever qualifying cycles, qualifying whatever stuff, I think that would be much more easier, in my opinion. What we do, it's actually we have done it recently, and I hope we will continue this with big support of our main sponsor, St. Louis Chess Club. We do a camp. Let's say we are expected to have, let's say, another camp, a training camp with our girls right before the Olympiad. That's the only thing what we have done it last time. It was very helpful. Hopefully, we will carry on and then do the same thing this summer. But sometimes, if let's say girls asking certain questions, they do have this program. Our coach always like kind of in touch with our girls. I mean, so we do this kind of stuff, but we do not have anything related to say we have extra pressure for the girls, and it is very important for them to play well. They do understand what they need. They do understand how much important for them to be part of the U.S. team. So, but from organizers, from a federation, we don't have this extra pressure for the girls, unless if their own personal coaches wants to do that. But I personally, as a team captain, I would never pressure anyone in my team to say, hey, you know what, you got to do this, you got to do that. No. I hope it's helpful.
One thing, sir, that I think will help to answer the question. So what you have with the girls is the camp before the Olympiad, for example. How do you approach that camp with the girls? These short period of preparation before the event?
We do teach them certain situations, certain positions or certain situations which could happen, could arise in your games. We obviously spending time by going over certain opening lines, but mostly we actually teaching them, decision-making process, like a decision-making in the middle game, decision-making in end games particularly. This is important because we try to make sure they can think right under certain pressure, because it is always important to kind of find the situations which could appear in real games, and to ensure your students, your even like elite athletes, are ready for this kind of circumstances, for this kind of situations. In my opinion, this is more important because, again, we working on opening lines whenever sort of request, but most of the time we do work on just studying some, working on calculations, working on studying certain positions, and most important, studying in certain situations which could, could be rise in the game, and to ensure your students are ready for these changes, for these situations, while they have their own game to be played.
Saludos, Josier de Venezuela. Saludo, maestro. Sé que trabaja con niños. En estos días mi hijo me hizo una pregunta de 10 años. Me dijo que él sabía que los médicos curaban y mejoraban la salud de las personas, los ingenieros desarrollaban, construían el mundo, los abogados resolvían problemas. Me preguntó que qué le aportan los ajedrecistas al mundo. Me gustaría saber qué le hubiese podido responder usted.
Okay, sir, I will help here to translate again. So Jose is asking us for his kid. His kid is 10 years old. And the question that he has is this. He say like, okay, if you're a doctor, you help to heal people. If you're an engineer, you help to build stuff for the world. But as a chess player, what I'm going to bring to the world? What could you say to that kid?
That's a good question. I like that question. Joy. We're gonna bring. I always believed we are constructors, we are engineers, we have doctors, we have everything. We're teaching everything. I have kids. I'm helping kids here, kids with spectrum, kids with autism. I'm teaching them to have more fun and more recognition, and they're learning the game of chess. So who am I? Am I just chess coach, or maybe I'm a doctor? When you project things for your kids, when you build a program for your students, and the program works, and your kids they're having success, then who are you? Are you engineer or you builder? So what I'm saying is, what we bring to this game, what we bring to this world, we bring everything. This is like most strategic game, which is going to help kids not just become a chess player. If they become a chess player, that's fantastic. But you know how many, personally, my students, I have doctors, I have lawyers, I have engineers, and all of them succeed. And all of them, some of them are still in touch with me, and they're still very happy by taking, at the time, lessons with me. Game of chess helping you no matter who you're going to be in your life. Game of chess will teach you most important discipline of your decision making, which is going to help you to understand no matter which area you're going to be working on is going to be very helpful. Many of my kids, I ask parents, I ask students themselves to stay in physical shape. I always try to stay myself in physical shape, become like real athletes. And that's why many of my kids, they're doing swimming, they're doing tennis, they're playing soccer. So what I'm saying is, we always try to develop our kids to be great members of our community, to represent and to build eventually their own families. I think the game of chess, it's an incredible game, and it will give you so many pluses in so many directions. You won't believe it, how much it's going to be helpful for you. I mean, if you remember like old ancient like history, the chess always has been considered as a part of your royal education. You had to do a music, you had to play chess, and you must know how to fight on rapier. So 3 requirements for like royal family members. So you're dealing with the most known part of your educational process. And I think it is important, particularly for those coaches who is teaching kids from very beginning. I'm serious. I always will take off my hat for all those coaches who is doing this like very beginning job, because that's how you bring the love and how you bring the passion, and to teaching them certain secrets, certain tricks, certain discipline tricks for your kids. And that's how they going to get connected for the rest of their lives to play this game of chess.
We have another question from an audience.
Hello, sir. This is Millie, and I have a high school senior who loves chess and he wants to do it for life. But he thinks that learning chess, like in a classroom or with a coach, like regularly, is something not comfortable for him. He believes that working on puzzles is going to improve his game, and so far he's doing good. But what would be your advice for him if he wants to take his game to the next level?
It was again a low volume, but I heard something what your kid's happy with his present coach, and but so far you feel it comes to the kind of end of his limitations, like of his he can't really teach him more than that.
No, Melik, it was a bit different. If you could repeat and higher in volume.
Can you come a little bit closer? I mean, I honestly I can't hear you very.
So I have a high school senior son who loves chess, and he is not interested in participating classes and learning from coaches. He preferred doing puzzles, and so far he is good. But what would be your advice to him to take his game to the next level?
Oh, I see. I think I heard it right. Okay, I hope so. Yeah, I mean, teenagers always difficult part for everyone, for parents, for coaches, obviously. And whenever your son is teenager, he thinks he owns the world. He can do everything by himself. And, you know, so as I understand, he used to be just having the chess instruction under his coach guidance, but these days he's grown enough and he thinks he can take care of himself, right?
He goes into puzzles. So instead of studying from coaches, he goes into puzzles.
Right. So this is the thing. I mean, okay, perhaps his coach, current coach, or yourself as a parent. I mean, try to understand, like, what's the vision and what's his vision. You think his puzzle is going to help him to like to reach his level? If I mean, honestly, if you see, I don't know your child's situation, but if you see he's doing like certain progress, like accordingly, like, I don't know, if you see the chart and you see he's improving, maybe it worked for him somehow. But usually improving only one part of his education, it's not exactly right, because we also need to like keep improving the other areas. I think what you need to do is like a kind of apply some kind of statistics and understand in the past 6 months, for instance, versus players his level or higher, how much he's performing. And that's one of the signs for you to understand if you are on the right track or the wrong track. So that's what I do. I always like studying like, the statistics and understanding like, okay, where are we? So, but if somehow it works, I'm not sure what to say. But if but again, in general, the education must be like total overall. You don't only like focus on one particular area, unless if coach had identified this area to be very weak. And then you can actually, let's say, forget about the other stuff and focus on one particular area. But it usually takes a very short period of time.
We have another question.
Yeah, I would be very quick. So I have a son who is above 2000 but less than 2200. So we are working with coach that helps, but in game sometime if they have a difficult game, they keep it to their heart and they don't tell anyone. But so, and I'm seeing a lot of mental coach coming into chess. Is this something that parents should be looking into? Like what are your suggestion on to that?
If you
Okay,
heard it,
so yeah, the road from a 2000 to 2200, it's like very important road. I mean, it's clearly, like I said, when your child becoming more professional, and clearly the resistance in that level, it's quite different. It's not the same resistance as you're dealing against, let's say, 17 or 1800s, right? It is required from you very much everything what you got. It's required for you focusing. It's required for you physical condition. It's required for you certain deep opening knowledge. It's many combinations, and clearly, most important, you need to have experienced coach who can guide him through, because there's many situations. Like I said, in many of my lessons, I'm spending like some time, particularly with this strong guys, by trying to talk to them, talk to him, talk to her, by bringing them examples, like you said, mental coach sort of, because this is what we need to understand. You need to find in your kid his psychological status to be all right, to be having clear state of mind. Because when your kid is kind of shaky, when your kid is kind of, because kids need guidance. No matter how much they're going to say, oh, we don't need you, I know everything, they know nothing. They know nothing. And I think you as a parent, as a dad, or as a coach, you need to like bring them those examples. You know what I'm saying? I mean, we saw the most recent example of Sindaro. Look at the Sindarov success. Sindarov had won this candidate tournament, and did you see who was his coach? He was coached by international master from a formerly Ukraine, who is clearly not even active player. So, but what this person was doing, he was actually very much babysitting. He was reading, he was posting some positions, working with him, acting technically as a dad, as a family member. So the coach has complete trust to the Sindarov, to the player, and that's how they got the success. So this is very important, and that's why if your kid is struggle, you need to understand one thing. You just run the data, and understand. Okay, what's the cause for him? Why he slowed down? Why he's not really making the progress which perhaps you as a parent or as a coach you are expecting, because you know his insight, you believe his potential is very high, but somehow he's not, let's say, progressing forward as much as you're expecting. And again, don't tell that in front of him, because don't put his confidence down. You always need to like, even if you believe there is something wrong with your pupil, with your child, with your student, don't say that in front of him. Don't kill his confidence. Just you can work out. I'm saying? You know what to do. All right. So hopefully that will help, and hopefully your kid will stay motivated and will continue his journey. And one day he's going to break through this, and that's it.
Thank you, Melik. We have another question.
Hello, hi, GM Melik. I have a question about if your child is training with more than one coach. So let's say one's virtual and one is in person. How do you align so that everyone is on the same page about helping your child move forward?
Oh yeah, that's the common. I honestly hate these situations, but I face these situations like in multiple occasions, even these days. So what I'm requesting, it's firstly it's like a group chat. Not chat, I mean group phone call, I mean group Zoom call, and everyone must understand his own directions, what we need to work on it. But most importantly, I always believe if a kid has more than one coach, someone needs to have full responsibility. So I personally would never take role number 2. I never do. If you're going to hire me as a coach number 2, I'm not going to work with that kid. So what I'm saying is, because we need to understand like what kids it's required. And I mean, okay, let's say I had a case with Annie Wang, one of my creations, right? It was a time when I felt like when I told her to play e4 as a white, for instance, it didn't work out, and I feel strongly something need to be done. And I hire my good friend Boris Havrov from Chicago just to teach her the old d4. But let's say the same Boris Havrov never was involved in any other areas of the chess, because I told him what to do. Exactly. Like I told him, we're hiring you because I'm hiring you very much for this purpose. The thing is, in most of the cases, one professional coach is enough for kid when he is getting developed. You're hiring like, let's say 2 coaches, or you're hiring 3 coaches, whatever. When you are professional athlete, and you do need like certain coaches to work in different directions. Let's say I'm working with this kid these days from India, but because of the time difference, it's different for parents to have me all the time, because we have so much time difference between, let's say, Los Angeles and India, right? So we came to conclusion it's better have someone local, and we found one, and we kind of agreed what they're gonna want to work on it, and then what I'm going to be working on it. But the main decision usually, like I would say, I'm not saying I am deciding what to do, but what I'm saying is they always asking me, should we do this? Should we do that? So we're kind of working together with all respect to each other, because every single coach has a big name. When the coaching staff, as we say, had same visionary, then we could to go. But if one coach will say to you, oh, you follow me, you follow my methods, you don't listen to the other coach, then we have a problem, because poor kid doesn't know whom to follow, whom to listen. And when he does his issues, then we have a big time confusion.
Thank you.
Again, overall, my advice, if you considering to have more than one coach, most importantly, your child must be already almost professional, meaning your child must be already being strong enough to understand what his coach or coaching staff is trying to tell him, trying to teach him. Because if your child is, let's say, 17, 18, 1900, and if he does have multiple coaches, it's going to be an issue eventually.
I think we have another question.
Thank you, GM Melik, for your amazing advice, especially to the parents. And as a parent of a 10-year-old boy who is very passionate about chess, loves chess, and is entering maybe the phase of discipline that you talk about in structure, I would just invite you to, you mentioned maybe sharing some files or sharing some advice about materials. So for example, my son right now has his first very serious coach, and is building materials and repertoire for him to practice with. But do you have any, let's say, top 5 materials or resources that you would recommend for youngsters, or anything else you'd like to share? You mentioned you might share some files with us, and thank you again for the amazing talk.
Well, yeah, I mean, obviously, when coach sending certain material to his students, depends what he's working on it. All right, okay, I have some of my own files. Let's say if I work for chess composition, I mean, depends on the situation. Let's say, I don't know. Let's say, for instance, like I have this kind of stuff. We have a file for the just to keep improving kids' tactics. So when you will have situations, so usually I don't really like the ideas of having any solutions unless after my kid is have figured out this, then we have solution. I also have a file sometimes when I post the same problem. with clocks. I mean, it's not like I always do with without clocks. I have a files like for calculation, let's say end game calculation or something like that. Okay, let's say this kind of stuff. Let's say, I don't know. This is yesterday happened to one of my students. I have many different things, but regarding like what your coach is doing for your kid, right? Often mistake, again, this is my opinion, when you guys setting, like when your coach send the file for your student, for your son or for something like that, and the big files to study. Usually I don't do that. I usually prefer to send the files, even when we analyze the games. I usually prefer to attach maybe one or two games which my student can comprehend. He can understand what's going on and register. Because a lot of times, if we talk about the openings, so we have many supportive websites, such as, let's say, Chessable. And I mean, the coaches need to be able to use those websites, as well. So it really depends, because when we send the files, when I said the share files, I said maybe someone wants to like ask me and I can show you what I have, because I have like many files here. Some of the files based on my own experience. Let's say I was showing for instance, that's one of the ideas. This is my former student, Andy Woodward, and I was showing like how much this like endgame knowledge is important for this kind of level. Explain the ideas here. This is my comments here, as you see, because let's say Andy, despite of being very strong grandmaster, and we used to have the lessons, but somehow he got nervous. I'm sure he knows that, but he missed the idea, which we know, we need to know this as a coaches. And in the cases when you have a knight and pass pawn, in order for you to win the game, always bring the knight to stay behind the pawn. And I was showing this puzzle, this position, for some of my other top students. Some of my, let's say, medium students figure out this, but some of my top students did not figure out this. Why is that? Because there is always some kind of holes in the memories. And I think we also need to work on it as a coaches. But if you do understand the concepts, because every time whenever you're making decisions in chess, for us coaches, it's most important to what we teach our kids. They know one principle. I call this like backtrack thinking. Whenever they understand the principle, what I'm trying to reach, what's my final position to reach, what's my reason to get there. It's like a first question what every single player must ask himself: why? If there is an answer why, then we're going to understand what to do. If we understand what to do, then we're going to understand how to get there. And if you look for the solution, you simply find this, and no need for you to calculate. There's also like a certain principles of basic endgames. The bishop, in order to bishop to protect the two passed pawns, the difference must be up to 4 lines. If line is more than 4, bishop, there is no way to handle these two passed pawns. Never. So if you know certain rules, if you know certain principles, then you can explain, and then no matter what's your level, he's going to figure out. This kind of files is more useful. So when you can teach something, and then you can bring some examples and create short files and send to your child, send to your student, and he will understand the principle. So because this is what missed by Black here. And again, computer will give you many other solutions, but this is most human solution, because that's how we should understand the game of chess. If we know this, that's it. I think our main job, our coaching main job, as much as we can present this game of chess to be simple to our kids, that's what we're looking for. This is the most important part of our team success for our student. I understand, explain properly for everyone.
Yes, Melik, thank you. And we have another question from a parent.
Okay, I will try to tell in English. When you have a young boy that you are training, how many hours you spend with him in a week or in a day to keep the balance between the school and the chess?
Right. I mean, there's the different situations, right? There is, yeah, if it's your kids, your students have a full academics, it's tough. It's really difficult, particularly in America. I would say at least 1 hour a day, hopefully, you know, if it's possible. But obviously, I would prefer if kids will have more time for chess. Ideally, particularly whenever you're dealing with more professional level, you should be training like yourself at least like 4 or 5 hours a day. Why? Because it's like an average of your game time, and when you see how much you needs to sit down over the game, over the board, that's average how much you need to spend time to your own trainings. And whenever you train and whenever you have, let's say, full day of training, then you must always stimulate like situations, meaning like you must work on your openings, you must work on your positional play, middle game, you must work on your calculation, your tactics altogether. So, but unfortunately, it's tough. And to many kids, they always busy. They have post-school activities, and most of American schools, kids go to school around 8 o'clock, and they come back to school like at 3:30 p.m. already very much tired. So it's hard to, I mean, to do everything. And then don't forget, we also have some kids who is going to have a piano or extra math classes, this and that. And I always respect that because in America, we always saying the academics. I mean, I'm parent myself. I'm parent myself. I mean, I have two marriages. My first kids from first marriages. My eldest son running his own business. My this kids from second marriage. They also, for me, I mean, academics. It's most important. I also believe chess is part of academics. That's why I'm pushing them on the weekends when they keep asking me, "Daddy, I want to sleep more." I'm like, "That's okay. You're going to sleep more, but first let's go have some chess lessons." So I would say if somehow we can squeeze, I don't know, half an hour, 1 hour a day while they have a school day, that would be great. At least not to forget about this game. But if it's not, try to do your best on weekends. Just do your best. So try to understand the balance between his academics but most importantly, if you're busy, if you have like a very fully busy day, make sure at least he does some tactics. At least keep him doing some like I heard earlier, puzzles to keep his brain to be challenged, more or less.
I believe this is our last question, and from on the behalf of the International School Chess Federation, please let me send you our sincere gratitude for this outstanding masterclass, and I believe that all the participants truly benefit from it. And maybe you have any wishes for our participants before saying thank you and
sure.
bye-bye?
Yes, stay humble, stay focused, and stay motivated, and stay more faithful. Your kids are the best, and do your best to support them, to bring more fun, to bring more joy for your kids, to make sure they're smiling, even while they're losing, they're smiling. Thank you so much.